Welcome back to my channel. It's Candace with a K here, where we talk about beauty, books, and kicks. Today I am breaking down a book that was one of the most anticipated of the year, but does it live up to the hype? If you're interested in hearing about my review of Sister Souljah's sequel to her hit novel, The Coldest Winter Ever, Life After Death, please keep watching. Go ahead and grab some wine. Okay, because we're going to be talking about life after death. So, I think every Black woman in America, maybe not, I don't want to generalize, but almost every Black woman has read The Coldest Winter Ever. And many of us were 13, 14, 15 years old reading Sister Souljah's story about Winter Santiago, and we're just enthralled in this idea of, this hustle lifestyle, being dripped in designer, being pretty, getting whatever you wanted. And I think it was great. Like, we all love The Coldest Winter Ever. Mind you, I have not picked up The Coldest Winter Ever since I read it the first time, but I knew, or I kind of just remember the feelings of what that felt like reading that book. So 20 years later now, we finally get the sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever. Now, part of The Coldest Winter Ever that I did not like was kind of towards the end of the novel, when it got kind of just too political, so to speak. But I just knew I still loved the book. And so now that we have the sequel, I was so excited to read this book. I couldn't even tell you how excited I was. The moment I heard the announcement that a sequel was coming, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. I'm ready. So thanks to the folks over at Simon & Schuster, who is the publisher, and also to NetGalley, I was able to get an advanced copy of this book. So the book was released this past Tuesday, and I have my review of it. So from this point forward, I am going to be getting into the book and just what it's all about. So if you don't want any spoilers or you're not interested, this is your time to check out of this video. I hope you come back though once you finish the book, if you choose to leave, because I'm sure your feelings are my feelings, and maybe vice versa. And you could also share your experience in reading the book down below in the comments, okay? So, Life After Death is essentially a story about Winter Santiago leaving prison after her 15-year prison bid. And upon exiting, she is shot. So in a majority of the book, we are led to believe that she is dead. And she is navigating essentially this tension between heaven and hell. But most of her experience throughout this book is her experience in hell. And that is because we know Winter to be this arrogant, stuck-up, bitchy character that nobody really likes, and is apparent because in the fact that she was shot by a friend. So in her trials through hell, we see that she ends up having sex with Satan and Satan's spawns. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but did anybody else find that part of the book extremely weird and like deranged almost? As I was reading the book, and we initially enjoy Sister Souljah's books for her word use, right? And her wordplay and her ability to explain and, really paint the picture and be very, using all this imaginative language to really make you feel like you're there. But in this particular instance, it was a point where I even had to stop reading and I had to go Google Sister Souljah's age, which is nearly 60, to figure out where the connect was in even giving me these visuals. So there's a point where she's having sex with Satan's offspring. She turns into a snake. Then she turns into a dog, and she's out here getting fingered by a dog. And it was kind of, yeah, finger as a dog, and it's just kind of bizarre. I think then as we progress, she starts to it's like her movement towards heaven, so to speak, but she has to come face to face with the children that, or the child that she aborted, which was also a weird thing to explain or to read, because why? Why? And there's always, of course, when you speak of heaven and hell, there's always this issues of religion. And so Winter initially is a firm believer that, you know, God has never looked out for me. Religion is kind of a means to pressure and to, you know, pressure into you into believing and moving a certain way and all this other stuff. But there's so many pages between point A and point B that could have been like this instead of this, that Sister Souljah, her editors, whomever, just did not guide her in the best direction. So ultimately, what ends up happening is that we learn that Winter is just, in fact, in a coma for only about a week or something like that. And so we just got a whole trip down her heaven and hell experience that just was extremely weird, bizarre, and unnecessary. And what I felt leaving, or rather finishing the book, was that this was her beliefs of being pro-life, and her views on being Muslim, like pressing, or not pushing, well, you know, pushing a Muslim agenda. So it wasn't like she was giving you information about other forms of religion. It was very Muslim specific. It was very much telling you that you shouldn't abort children, or you're going to have to come face to face with your children. It was very like, lay with the devil. These are going to be your consequences. Which, as maybe a younger version of myself, that may have been a susceptible image that I could have had. But seeing that there has been zero progression in Winter's story and also in Sister Souljah's writing, it's actually kind of scary. In my opinion, this book is terrible because it just was so all over the place, that it just didn't clearly get me from point A to point B. I think her writing, or rather this book, could have been a lot better. I think it took me finishing the book to see what the point was, where she could have got there if the execution had been just a lot, just a lot better. The execution of what she was trying to get across just was not it, because it left me as the reader more confused, unsure of what was happening, not sure where we were going with this. And it was in what, about 700 or some pages. Like, it is not a small book. So for the book to be as large as it is, it definitely could have been truncated a lot. Like, that could have been what it was. I think many of us had expectations that Winter was going to come out of jail and be balling, right? And that Winter was going to come out of jail and continue to be Winter, the Winter that we knew. However, we got a completely different narrative, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I just think it wasn't what we expected as readers, what was let on to be. One of those instances where nostalgia really just taints everything, because we had these ideas of what Winter was going to be and what she was going to do and all these other things, and that just did not happen. And as a writer, I could see where Sister Souljah probably wanted to go in a completely different direction, but it just kind of sucked as the reader. I did hear that she appeared on Breakfast Club, which offered some more enlightenment to the narrative of the story. I have yet to check out that interview. At this point, I'm really not interested. There's nothing that will make me go back to Life After Death. Like, that's it. The book is not good. But I yeah, there's nothing that's gonna make me go back. So, that is pretty much it. If you read Life After Death, what are some of your opinions of the book? Maybe you are currently reading it, maybe you've read it. What's going on? Please let me know down below. Be sure to subscribe. You can also follow my Bookstagram page, which is Candace with a K reads. Okay, you'll see everything that I've read posted there. On Goodreads, you'll see what I'm currently reading, and I always like to receive book suggestions and what other people are reading and what's going on in the literacy world and literary world. So be sure to hit me up, let me know. Alrighty, folks, that is all. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.